It's time for everyone's favorite cobalt blue mascot to make his first appearance on the silver screen since 1996. We know some of you just realized that Sonic the Hedgehog had another movie before this one. Don't worry, there are tons of other great facts and theories in this video. That was just a hint of things to come. The Binger is about to tell you all about what you will and won't see in Sonic's new movie. Believe it or not, they're leaving a lot out. Maybe they're thinking franchise? Either way, we gotta go fast and get through it all. Some of you are thinking, why do we need to know who Sonic is? Well, for starters, it's always essential to assume the basics have been uncovered. Second, there are probably viewers out there that never played Sega games growing up. That sentence made us feel prehistoric, but it's true. So, for those of you new to the Sonic scene, here are the details. Sonic first debuted in 1991 as a car decoration in Rad Mobile. He wasn't quite a playable character yet, but would be shortly after in his own game titled Sonic the Hedgehog. See, Sonic was Sega's response to Mario and Nintendo's face of the franchise. Naoto Oshima took a bunch of developmental sketches with him on a trip to New York and conducted an informal poll. Turns out this small blue hedgehog codenamed Mr. Needlemouse won out. It didn't take long for the rest of the company to jump on board and officially replace Alex Kidd with Sonic as the flagship franchise. The rest is history. He sped into our hearts and never stopped running. Now let's talk about the movie. We want to get into all the things we know and theorize about, but we have to talk about what's not there first. Sonic is gonna look lonely with none of his iconic friends around. Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow, and tons more of the video game's personalities won't make an appearance. Well, at least that's what the team over at Paramount has told us. For all we know, there could be an endgame-like moment at the end of this film. We honestly doubt it though, it's merely a dream. It stinks that the only major character we meet is Sonic. Yes, the villain is significant in that it's Dr. Robotnik, but that's a whole other entry. There aren't many familiar faces here, especially since it takes place on Earth. Seriously, who is Tom Wachowski to Sonic? James Marsden is a great actor, but he's playing a police officer with no connection to the games. We guarantee the audience is going to sit through some of his backstory for no reason. Something needed to be said about this. Don't worry, there's more about his friends later. By far, the most crucial part of this movie is the controversy around Sonic's design. The world will forever be scarred by that lifelike monster we initially saw. Sure, it wasn't god-awful. We could think of worse examples of CGI. Looking at you, Scorpion King. But the point is, it helped make the movie matter. By far, the most important mishap involved Sonic's big ol' pearly whites. Yes, we're talking about his weird human teeth that could chomp down on your finger in an instant.
I'm a piranha.
No, Paramount, we're not going to forgive or forget. Those images are seared into our brains. However, it says something more about the film. Keep in mind, Sonic's movie rights were initially picked up by Sony's team and later put in turnaround. Paramount Pictures then scooped it up in 2017. They finished casting in August of 2018. That whole timetable is way too smashed together. It went from casting to finished product in just a little over a year. No wonder that trailer looked so bad. Luckily for us, Paramount heard our complaints and repented. So far, we've talked a lot about what's not going to happen. Maybe it's time to start talking about something that we know. Ben Schwartz did an excellent job as Sonic, and we haven't even mentioned him yet. We already touched on James Marsden's role. But accompanying him as Tim's wife, Maddie, is Tika Sumpter. That's the core cast right there. We also don't want to forget about Jim Carrey playing Dr. Robotnik. All that to say that this cast is super talented. There's loads of comedic value and range there. Tons of other actors and performers are in the cast, but their roles weren't announced. That's more for the theory section. The plot, however, is pretty confirmed. The best anyone can tell, this film takes place in Montana, even though it was shot in Vancouver. His iconic rings act as a gateway to other locations. For some reason, Sonic is searching for said rings and recruits Officer Tim to help him. Instead of staying low-key, Sonic accidentally causes a power outage, and the government enlists the evil Dr. Robotnik to capture the mysterious Blue Devil. You're not buying into Sonic's movie just yet. We can tell. The setting and limited cast can feel uninspiring, but there's a lot more to it. For instance, the trailers make it seem like the whole story is just one big chase. There's another recent film that did that premise and turned out great. No, the Binger isn't about to stake our reputation on that comparison. Just keep that in mind.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
A deleted Reddit thread told users all about the plot of the movie back in early 2019. Since then, trailers and scene previews appear to support most of the claims. Just keep in mind that the Reddit user did say the wife's name was Annie, and that doesn't seem to be the case. The leak explained that we even see a baby version of Sonic, and that he comes to Earth at a very young age. The real kicker is the plot we get from the leak. It sounds like a buddy cop film mixed with Smokey and the Bandit type of chase scenes all the way to San Francisco. We can't do it. We can't move on without finishing up the discussion about Sonic's CGI. His big old pinchers are still in our heads. We need to tell you all that it's going to be alright before we can continue. So yes, crisis avoided, and the whole movie has been saved. Or has it? It has! We're only kidding. Sonic's animation isn't going to be what stops you from enjoying the movie. We can't tell you that everything else is fine, but the film does appear saved at the moment. At the very least, we're not going to toss Sonic into the same grouping as The Room. So that's good, right?
What a story, Mark.
Props to the animation team for putting in a lot of overtime to adjust Sonic's features. The results are astonishing. Even with the fixes leaked, fans seem to give positive reactions. Part of it is the fact Paramount listened to the audience to begin with. This movie succeeding would go a long way towards making that commonplace in the industry. Things are looking up for this quill-covered icon. We mentioned the lack of Sonic's friends in this film, but theories and rumors point to that not being the case. The trailers and all the previews lead to the fact that Sonic is an alien. His home planet is a distant world that's akin to his video game setting. There, the grassy hills are replaced with, well, green hills, but he can run on those. Still, we don't know much at all about this place. One theory states that we start out and end the story on Sonic's homeworld. Those cast members with undisclosed roles are actually Sonic's friends. They don't get significant parts because we only get quick moments with them. The majority of the film is spent on Earth, getting to the rings in San Francisco. In the end, Sonic enlists the help of his buddies back home and is no longer alone. Another theory is that Dr. Robotnik becomes Dr. Eggman by the end of the movie. Rumors are swirling that the main villain manages to snag a ring right at the end and threatens Sonic's homeworld. More on that later. So let's take some inspiration from our favorite speed racer and go through the plot super fast. We want to take all the theories, leaks, and confirmed details and mash it into whatever you can expect from Sonic. Just don't get mad at us for the spoilers. We can't help how accurate this will be. The movie is going to start out with Sonic's discovery. By this we mean people finding out that the blue blur is actually an overpowered hedgehog that runs incredibly fast. The one person Sonic ends up trusting is Officer Tim and Maddie. The likely reason he goes to them is Maddie's background as a vet, though that's more theory than confirmation. Meanwhile, the government will be working with Dr. Robotnik in the background. As we've said before, this setup is going to lead to an extended chase scene across half the country. As most action movies now, the final act will be a big battle in a major city, in this case San Francisco. The two will move the fight to Sonic's homeworld where the resolution happens. Mixing the plot, the characters, the setting, and the themes all together gives us a pretty solid movie. You should expect great things when you go to watch this film. No, we're not saying it's going to win an Oscar or even be nominated for a Kids' Choice Award. It's honestly just going to be a fun family film. What more could you want? Expect some humor to fall flat, and the occasional uneven pacing. Sonic was made to hit the general audience. That means all the jokes are going to be super safe, and the editing is going to be simple. However, dear viewers, we promise you will still laugh, and you will still enjoy yourself. If you like Sonic, then you're going to like this film. If it feels like we're tossing out a lot of praise, it's because the cast and crew have earned it. They listened to the fans and fixed issues. At the end of the day, director Jeff Fowler simply wants to respect the source material. We see you trying, Jeff, and we think you've done it. We've been tiptoeing around it all this video, but we believe this entry is the biggest factor. Yes, Paramount is calling him by his American name, Dr. Robotnik. Yes, he doesn't wear the iconic look for most of the movie. Those grievances aside, Jim Carrey seems genuinely excited about this performance. The trailers and the press tour interviews indicate that Jim Carrey found some of his old charm in this film. A villain as bombastic and energized as this needs a lot of weight behind it. Carrey succeeds in that realm. What's even more impressive is the fact that this movie plays out like a villain origin story. Sonic is the headliner here, but they're obviously wanting to turn this into a franchise. Throughout the film, Robotnik slowly descends into madness pursuing Sonic. He finally sports his iconic look in the big climax to show that transition. Carrey even remarked that he wouldn't mind playing the character again in a future film. So get excited to see Sonic run and zip across the country, but Robotnik might just steal the show. How do you feel about the movie? Share your Sonic thoughts with us in the comments below. Want more from The Binger? Then like this video and subscribe to keep up to date with our daily videos. You don't want to miss out on all the latest content. And thanks to all our subscribers.